Hey, it's episode number 1 for Start Small, my new podcast that came out of the 30-day video challenge. And if you haven't seen my short 3 to 5 minute videos on my 30-day video challenge, I'll put a link to the playlist below and you can go check those out. I mean, they're really short. It's just kind of a nice little glimpse into my everyday life. And so while this podcast isn't going to be my everyday life, I am going to do it 3 days a week. So on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, I'll upload a new video. And since I'm not doing it every day, it's going to be harder to squeeze into 5 minutes or less any of the thoughts that I had for the week. But that's still my goal. But most likely these podcasts are going to be around 10 to 15 minutes long. And if you noticed already, I changed the name. It was supposed to be It's Not Just Business because I have a Substack by that name. But as I was getting things together, it just wasn't flowing, wasn't coming together. And really, everything I do is around the word small. Really this podcast, by the way, my name is Laura and I am the Microbiz chick. Microbiz. I mean, it's all about extremely small micro business. That's my passion. That's what I have. That's what I do. The whole point of my podcast is encouraging us to start small, whether it's in business or it's in our everyday life. And the reason I wanted to call It's Not Just Business originally because everything in my life is all wrapped up into one. I really don't separate them. The lessons I learn in life, I apply to my business. The lessons I learn in business, I apply to my life, and they support each other. And I don't look at my businesses. I have 2 of them, 3, but really 2 active ones. I don't consider them separate. I consider them an extension of who I am. And I consider them an act of worship. And we'll talk more about that. So, and again, this is not, and then also to clarify, this is not a Christian podcast. I happen to be a follower of Jesus. And I walk by the Holy Spirit. So you'll hear me talk about that all the time because I don't do anything without instruction and leading by the Holy Spirit. And so I want everybody to be able to watch this podcast and glean something out of it, out of someone who has started multiple businesses literally with nothing. And but also someone who has really found a depth and an intimacy with God that has impacted and transformed my entire life. I'm really passionate about that. I'm passionate about people finding their calling, their purposes, why they were created, and living that out, because really that's the greatest desires of our heart is to, we think about what's going to make us happy. Really what's going to make us happy is to do what we were created for. And I was in my 50s before I found that. And mine happens to be this magazine, which we're going to talk a lot about my magazine. We're going to talk about a lot of the articles that are in it, but I'm also going to share a lot of my own personal stories of where I started and how I got here, because it's really a tremendous testimony of how faithful God can be when we just fall into his arms. I have been without nothing. I've had nothing. I've been at the bottom of the barrel many times, and he has been faithful. And he has taught me how to build up businesses, how to trust him. And I'm working on a book called Never Apologize for Being Small. I love micro businesses. I have no desire to be a giant business, a giant corporation. Some people do, and I don't discount that at all. But I also want to be here for the people, for the artists, the creatives, the writers who just want to do what they love, and they don't necessarily are out to be the next Tony Robbins or Gary Vaynerchuk or Mel Robbins or whoever. But you want to write, you want to paint, you want to create, you want to write music, whatever it is you want to do it, and you want to do it very well, and you want to make a living at it. But you don't necessarily have to be, a world traveler. So I'm for you. I'm for the people who want to be micro businesses, or at least want to start. And if you want to go past being a micro business, great. But I'm here for the people who want to just start with what they have and give it to God and see where He wants to take it. So, anyway, so I want to give a little bit of this first episode, just giving a little bit of background. Again, we're going to be on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. It's not going to be live right now. That's just when I'm going to upload them. I don't know what time of day. I'm just going to get them uploaded. Probably not till late at night, to be honest, because I have a very full schedule. The reason I chose start small, again, I'm going to go into that, is everything I do is around small. So I grabbed this a second ago, and it's a mug that my stepdaughter made for me. And by the way, Clay Plant Road, some of you have probably heard about them. Fantastic pottery team. That is my stepdaughter and son-in-law. They are amazing potters. So I'll try to put a link out there for you. Clay Plant Road. She made this for me because this is the verse that I stand on for my magazine. And it's out of Job. And it says, although your beginnings were small, your future will be very great indeed. And that's the whole point of this podcast, is starting small. Say yes to God and then watch what He does with it. Watch the increase. Watch how He transforms your life. And that's why I changed the name, because everything, my one business is called Microbusiness Mentor. I'm the Microbiz chick. My magazine is PAOLA Lane. PAOLA means small. On the back of my magazines, on the issue, you'll see a quote that I have on there. PAOLA Lane, a place where small beginnings lead to endless opportunities. So that's why I changed the name, because everything around me is about that whole concept of starting small. I'm writing a book right now called Never Apologize for Being Small. I love the little things in life, because that's where the big things are. That's where the big transformations come from, or from the little things in life. The little compliments, or the I love yous, or whatever it is, that usually has the greatest impact in our life. The customer that sends you a note saying, wow, I want you to know I really, really love what I got from you. It has really meant the world to me. Or like this week, I got a picture, an email, and one of my customers had sent me photos of her daughter typing on a typewriter. I have a vintage typewriter business, and I had done a special video for her and sent her a birthday card with it. And she sent me photos, and I got to tell you, I almost started crying. That meant the world to me. So it's the little things. It's the little things that are received into our life, and the little things that we give out that really transform our life, that transform our business, that take our talents and turn them into whatever it is that God has set out for us. So that's the whole point of starting small podcast. Also, for those of you who are Christians, or you read the Bible, 2 Kings 4 is really the story that got me going in my magazine. It's the story of Elijah and the widow, where she's like, please help me, I'm starving, my husband is dead, he was a prophet, I need help. And he's like, well, what do you have in your house? She said, only a little bit of oil. And he said, take that little bit of oil, borrow some jars, fill up those jars, and then when she was done, she had more than enough to live off of for the rest of her life. So that's just the kind of God we serve. But there's some other stories that are in the Bible that talk about starting small. I'll talk about those on different podcasts. But I'll also share, how I got started as a single mom with nothing. Maybe I'll do that on the next episode. So thanks so much for tuning in on episode number 1. It's just an introduction. On the next episode, I'll tell you how I started my very first business with no money as a single mom, and I wanted to stay at home with my son and homeschool him, and how I was able to do that. It wasn't easy. It was pretty ugly, but it happened. And so I'll share that with you on the next episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Give me a like, a subscribe, tell people about it. I'm sharing the lessons that God has taught me. He didn't give me these lessons to hoard them to myself. It's time to release them. A lot of them I've been holding in my heart for over 20 years. And now it's time to share them so that your lives may be enriched through the power of Jesus. All right, thanks so much for watching.